going on, guys, and welcome to the video. Now this video is going to be talking about how to gain weight for hard gainers. Skinny guys that just can't put on weight or say they can't put on weight. This is going to be some solutions that you can implement into your diet, into your training, into your life. And this could be like the holy grail of answers. It's one additional meal, one shake, 638 calories, additionally to what you're consuming already. So this is 2 scoops of protein powder, 1 cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and half a banana. So I'll give you a few more solutions on how you can gain weight. Tip number 1, and probably the most obvious answer, is that you're just not eating enough. You're not consuming enough calories. And the thing is, everyone is different. Like, everyone is made up genetically different. Some people can gain weight on 3,000 calories. Some people can gain weight on 6,000 calories. It just depends on the person, how fast their metabolism and the way their body is made up and operates. So you probably aren't consuming enough calories. And here's like a very clear demonstration of that. When I was in college studying nutrition, one of our classes was nutrition counseling. So we had to kind of work with clients and work with people within the college to help them reach their fitness goals. And a lot of people, it was probably split. Half wanted to lose weight, half wanted to gain weight. A lot of the guys wanted to gain weight, and they said they could not gain weight no matter what they did. They're like, I'm eating 4,000 calories a day. I'm shoving my face, like I'm eating as much as possible, and I just can't gain weight. You have to treat like your nutrition like you do your training. You have to be mindful of it. You're mindful of your training and your training sessions and how you go about that. You have to do the same thing with nutrition, be mindful of what you're consuming. So what I did in this class with these students, nutrition counseling, is I had them log their food for a week. I didn't have them track anything. They didn't put anything in MyFitnessPal. They just wrote down what they were consuming on a piece of paper, and I went into MyFitnessPal and calculated the calories for the day. And over the course of a week, I found the averages of what they were consuming. So a lot of the guys were like, oh, I'm eating 4,000 calories a day. But after I calculated it, it was like 2,200 calories a day. I was like, well, here's your answer. You're not eating enough. So to put this into practice, what you can do is, and if you're not tracking your calories and your macros already, for a week, just go ahead and write down exactly what you eat for every meal of every day for 7 days, like serving sizes, how much of it. And then at the end of the week, calculate those calories and macros using an app like MyFitnessPal and find the average of what you consumed per day. And that's like the average amount of calories you're consuming. And if you're not gaining weight on those calories, we'll bump those up, move those up like 500 calories and see if you start gaining weight. If you don't gain weight on those 500 calories, bump it up again another 500. You have to find like what your body needs to gain weight, because the excuse and the answer is, well, I just can't gain weight. Like I eat food and it just comes on out. It doesn't work like that. Like if you provide your body enough of nutrients, enough of calories, it will gain weight on, whatever that number is. But my best piece of advice is track for those 7 days, find the average, see what you're actually consuming, and then bump that up. Because the thing is, you just got to eat more. All right, tip number 2, and this is probably the biggest piece of advice and the biggest tip that helped me personally when I was trying to gain weight, and it's pre-plan your meals. So, when you sit on this path of gaining weight and you establish your calories and your macros, and it's super overwhelming, you're like, how am I going to eat all of this in one day? Well, what I used to do is I go to MyFitnessPal the day before and I pre-plan my meals if I could, like if the time permitted and I knew where I was going to be and what I was going to be eating. I would pre-plan my meals for that day, so I made sure I could consume all the calories I had to. So, for example, to put it into practice, you have 300 grams of carbs you have to eat in a day. Well, if you eat 6 meals a day, that's 50 grams of carbs per meal. And you fill in the rest with your proteins and fats, and like you do with your carbs. And you pre-plan those meals to ensure that you hit your calories and your macros for that day. That way you're not in a deficit, you're not missing your goal, you're not eating under of what you need to gain. Pre-plan your meals for success. That's also why meal prepping is so important. And I honestly believe that meal prep is just as, if not more important, while you're trying to gain than when you're dieting, when you're cutting. Because if you have the food sources readily available, like you have your carbs like rice, you have some beef, chicken thighs, you have chicken breast, some ground turkey maybe. If your meal prep is complete, well, then it's easier to pre-plan those meals and prepare those meals. So meal prep and pre-plan your meals. All right, post grocery shopping tip number 3, eat more calorically dense foods. So like the most calorically dense macronutrient is fat, 9 calories per gram. Protein and carbs are 4 calories per gram. And most of the time, like fat-based food items aren't gonna fill you up really fast. Like if I eat a bunch of carbs, it's gonna fill me up really fast. I'm gonna feel pretty lethargic. I'm just gonna crash. So like, what I'll do is space out my carbs in all of my meals. But one way to get more calories in is calorically dense food items that are fat-based. So for example, like the biggest difference between when I'm dieting and when I'm like maintaining or trying to gain and build some muscle is I add more fats into my diets, like nut butters, peanut butter, almond butter. Like for 2 tablespoons, which is a small serving size, it's 190 calories, 16 grams of fat, 6 grams of carbs, 7 grams of protein. Like super great option if you're trying to gain weight. Another one is like add coconut oil to all of your meals. Like if you throw a tablespoon of coconut oil, 120 calories, 14 grams of fat in with like your rice and chicken for like 3 or 4 of your meals, that's a couple hundred calories. That can help you a lot. Another thing, like other than nut butters, actual nuts, like a good like snack that you can be snacking on. I'm about to open this up as soon as I'm done recording this. Is my favorite cashews, like 13 grams of fat, 5 grams of protein, 9 carbs for a quarter cup of cashews. Super calorically dense. And another thing, like one of my favorites, butter. So like Kerrygold pure Irish butter is delicious, like super delicious, and it comes from grass-fed cows. But I'll throw this like on my bread in the morning. I'll throw it on sandwiches. You can add like this to a lot of different, foods or items, and macronutrient wise, 100 calories for a tablespoon, which helps out. So like incorporate more calorically dense foods that don't fill you up a lot, like this kind of stuff, which will make gaining weight a whole lot easier. This meal right here is actually a really good example. So 8 ounces of ground turkey. Now instead of chicken, you can add more calorically dense meats like ground turkey, ground beef, chicken thighs, more fat. 8 ounces of the turkey, 1 of these packs of Uncle Ben's ready rice, roasted chicken, and then a tablespoon of coconut oil mixed in there. Over 700 calories in this meal, which, compared to my hand, it's not that much volume-wise, but it's calorically dense. And tip number 4. Now this is something that I incorporated into my diet when I was in college, and I saw a lot of results. Now, I think a lot of people can relate that sometimes it's hard to get all your calories, all your meals in throughout the day. There's just things going on. You don't have the time or the resources to sit down and have a meal, or maybe meal prep didn't work for that day. But almost everyone has the nighttime available to do this. So what I used to do when I was in college, and when I was like super into gaining weight, gaining size, gaining muscle, that was my priority in life at the time. I would take a shaker bottle, put 2 scoops of whey protein in there with some milk or almond milk, and shake it up, just have a shake. Then I would get a bowl, and I put I'd say 2 to 4, maybe more servings of cereal sometimes, like a whole grain cereal, and then I'd throw the shake over top of that. And on top, I would also put in like nut butter, or I'd throw almonds, or I'd have almonds on the side. And that there would be like 6 to sometimes 800 calories of carbs, proteins, and fats. So that's like one of my bigger pieces of advice is, if you're busy during the day, you don't have time, but at night before you go to bed, like literally before I get into bed, I would do this. I'd throw down a few servings of cereal, a protein shake, and some calorically dense like nut butters, almonds, stuff like that. So that's a big piece of advice that I think a lot of people, almost everyone, can implement into their day. And then you don't have to worry about just like being full and walking around operating. You just rest, recover overnight, and start the whole thing and the whole process over again in the morning. So that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The big takeaway is you have to eat more. However, there's little things that you can like implement and incorporate or routine changes that you can make into your diet or your lifestyle that help you gain this weight. But keep in mind, if you're eating 2,000 calories a day and you bump up to 5,000 calories a day like this, it's going to be super uncomfortable and not that fun. So a big piece of advice is slowly incorporate more calories into your diet to make it more comfortable for you, your digestive system, and your body. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.